Welcome back to the exercise training sessions. And in last session, we discussed about only one transformation. Due to some technical problems, we closed the session early, and it was lookup transformation. Right? I hope you understood the concept lookup transformation. And in this session, we're gonna in this particular session, we're gonna discuss about the remaining transformations. Let's say I think we have 5 to 6 remaining transformations. So I want you guys to concentrate as we have very less time to cover all the stuff. So please concentrate. Thank you for that. So the next transformation we're gonna look into is, let me see where I am. I covered a lookup transformation, right? So where is that? Let me highlight here. And let me see, there are so many. I think we are not in this actually. We are into package 1. Okay, here we are. So let me disable this as I'm doing from day 1. We started discussing about these transformations. And let me take new one for the next transformation. The next transformation is SCDs. SCD is very important transformation, and it plays a major role while moving the data from source to destination, in particularly when you are moving the data of master tables. So I hope everyone remember what is the difference between master table and transaction table. And in master table, we will have all the master information or information about a particular entity or particular object. Kind, let's say an employee is a employee data is master information, which will be stored only once. So whatever the transactions that he's gonna make, like leaves he's gonna take, salary he's gonna get, and so on, all these things will fall into transaction table. So master records, I will have only one master record. Whenever I take leave, my master record will not be inserted again and again, so which is of no use. So in the same way, the banking side, the customer is master information, or bank accounts is types of accounts is master information. So in short, master information is the primary key table in SQL Server. Now let's see how we can move and what is the different types of SCDs available, and all the stuff, how we can achieve the same. The first thing is SCD. As I told you, it helps in moving the master data, and it has many types. If you go into Google and search for SCD types, you'll get like 5 to 6 minimum. People will call SCD type 0, type 1, type 2, type 3, type 4, type 5, type 6, and so on. So type here is nothing but how many ways you can store the data while moving from source to destination when there is a change in the source. Let's say myself, I'm an employee of XYZ company working under manager ABC. Tomorrow I move to new project and my manager is a new guy. Let's say DEF. And after 6 months, again new project, and my manager is IJK, something like this. So every time my manager is changing, my manager is not constant. Manager information of an employee will be stored in the master information, let's say master table. So in that case, my master information is changing. Let's say the city, customer, okay, let's say I have a customer, and customer currently he is in India, Bangalore. So his city will be updated with Bangalore. Tomorrow he moves to Hyderabad on job purpose. So his city will become Hyderabad. After a few days he moves to US. So his city is US, some city in US. So the master information, whenever the master table information, as far as we know, we treat that master information is fixed and it will not be changed. But in few cases, the master information will be changed. Let's say the best example is manager. Manager is not constant for an employee. Manager will be changing for every project. Okay. So if you are maintaining the manager column, manager information in your table, then you need to have, you need to handle that changes whenever you are moving the fresh data to the data warehouse. Then you have to handle the changes. Let me take Excel here. I'll take very simple example. I'm not going to take big table here. Let's say employee ID, name, designation, department. Okay, and I'll say Employee ID is 1, Rupesh, his designation is SSC, department is IT. So this is the data I have with me in my source at this point of time. So using SSIS packages, what I'll do? I'll move this data to my data warehouse, right? So let's say this is my data warehouse and I have moved that information to the data warehouse. Up to here, it's good. And tomorrow, let's say the SSC has become module lead. And one more employee joined. Let's say his name is ID is 2, name is Lokesh, he is project lead and he belongs to IT. So now when you move the data from the source to destination, what you have to do? The first thing, the blindly what you can do is the new record you can insert. The record that is not available there, you can insert it here like this. What happened to the, what about the existing record which is already available in the destination, but there is some changes to the same record in the source. So how you are gonna maintain it in the data warehouse, how you are gonna move the data, while moving the data, what changes you are gonna do. So this is called SCD types. In how many ways you can track the change that has happened in your source is called slowly changing dimension. If the dimension is changing over time, dimension data is changing over time. A dimension means nothing but master table. A master table data is changing over time, then how many ways or what way you are tracking it in your data warehouse, that talks about the that is called slowly changing dimension tables. Let's say one way is simply updating it. Okay, simply SSC becomes ML, directly update the record if there is any change. So in this case, the problem is all the records of this particular company where I'm working, it will say Rupesh joined as module lead and he left as module lead after working for 10 years. So there will be no history. If you observe, no history, what he was when he joined, it will not be available, right? This is only one way of storing. We call it as type 0, or this is not type 0, this is type 1. So in the same way, you can store, you can find, you have one more option, that is keep this guy as SSC and make it as 0, which means it's old record, and insert one more record, Rupesh, module lead, IT, and make it as 1. So this guy is new record, right? So let's set it as 1. So all the 1 records are active records in the data warehouse. So this is one way of storing that information, right? So here in this case, you are not going to miss the history. What he was earlier, you are going to maintain it. So instead of 0 and 1, you can do one more thing. Copy the same way, and even better option, this one, end date, start date. So from when to when he is, like let's say 6th December 2010, 2010 he joined as SSC and it ended in 15th May 2012. So Rupesh joined as SSC on so and so date and it ended on so and so date, and the same day he started, he has become module lead, and null means he is still continuing as module lead, right? Which one is easy? I mean, if you observe the first case, we are entirely overwriting it. In the second case, what you are doing here is you are maintaining one what we call it as an index, like okay, whether it is a current record or not. So if it is 1, that means it is current record. In the third case, the problem in the second case here, if you see, it will tell you what is the historical data for which the data is changed, the record is changed, and what is the current record. You can identify that, but you can't give you the timings. I mean, from when to when he was a senior software engineer, from when to when he is a module lead, from when to when he was a project lead, and so on. So this guy will give that information to the third way. So in the same way, there are so many. The problem here is the number of records will increase. The number of records will continuously will grow like anything. Okay. So there are so many types of SCD. So, but in SSIS, it supports the SCD transformation supports 3 types, and we are going to discuss all those 3: the type 0, type 1, and type 2. So we're going to discuss those type 3 SCDs in today's session. So let's jump into SQL Server first. So we know, in last session we created a table salesperson, right? And it has some records. I inserted some data. Let's say I have this information. I'll do one thing. I'll truncate this information and reinsert again. Truncate table. I think I inserted some junk on the day. I'm truncating it. And I have insert statement, so I'll insert it again. Okay. So now I have 10 records in this table, which is somewhat valid. I have not given junk data like I used to do. And I've created one more table which supports SCD type 0. So the table name is sales_person_SCD 0. So if you see, while going for SCD 0, what will happen is it won't update any changes. If any change, let's say this is SCD 1. I'll highlight here SCD 1. Sorry. This is SCD 1 where you will be changing the data, updating the records. We'll come to that SCD 1 again later. Shit, my system. I set the sensitivity on this keyboard setting something. Sorry, mouse settings, and it is torturing me now. I have to change it after the session. Employee ID, name, desig, department. So 1, Rupesh, SSC, IT. So this is the existing data. Whenever you get a new set of records, what this type 0 will do is it won't care about existing records. Even though there is changes, it won't care. What it will do is it will go and check for new data. If there is any new data, it will come and update it like this. So what happening here is it is getting new record and it won't care about whether it's a module lead or SSC or whether it is changed or not for the existing record. So it will just ignore the existing record. That means it will check 1 is available. So first here it will come. 1 is available here or not. It is available. So don't touch it. Go to the next one. 2 is available or not. It was not available earlier. So it will pull the trigger and it will insert into the destination. So what is the disadvantage here? If there is any changes to the master information, it won't get changed, right? So that is the biggest problem if you go for type 0 SCD. But let's see how to configure the type 0 SCD first, and then we will discuss about type 1. What is the advantages over type 0 when you go for type 1? So for configuring, I need 2 tables. As I told you, there will be no extra columns created for this type, type 0. And hence I've created a table with the same structure, ID, name, city, state, country, and PIN, just like the existing one, that is sales_person. Now let me set the source first. Let me connect to salesperson table. And it is not AdventureWorks DW. I created a sample database and I've created the tables in sample database. And the table, master table is salesperson. Columns, fine, we're good. Now, here, I did something. Let me check after the session. Now, let me drag and drop slowly changing dimension. Here you can see slowly changing dimension. In short, we call it as SCDs. I'm giving the output of OLEDB source to input of slowly changing dimension. So I'll name it as, SCD type 0. Okay. And let me increase it. And let me set the properties now. So what is the table that you want to compare? The reference table. You have to compare, right, with some destination. Like here, if you see, this table will compare with this table, like whether the record exists or not, right? So I have to select the table here. And it is again in the same database. sample database, and the table name is sales underscore person underscore SCD 0. Here you have to specify what is the key column. There should be some key column, right? This is master data. What column? Based on what column it has to check. We call it as business key here. So we have to set the business key. Here ID is the business key. Based on ID, it is going to look up. It is going to compare whether the record is available or not. I've selected the business key. Click on next. Here, if you observe, there are three different types of attributes: fixed attribute, changing attribute, historical attribute. So if you go for fixed attribute, select this type when the value in the column should not change. So that means type 0. The column should not change. It should not be changed. If it changes, it's your call whether to ignore or not. Understood? In the same way, changing attribute, the second one. Select this type when changed value should overwrite existing values. Let's say value is changed. This is type 1. We will discuss about this later. First here, fixed attribute means if any column, if I select here as fixed attribute, then this column value should not be changed in the source. If it changes, that means that's an error. You are telling the server that name, designation, and department should not be changed. All these are fixed attributes. If it changes, then what it has to do, we can configure it. So to configure this for type 0 SCD, what I have to do is I have to set everything as fixed attributes. Select all the columns and all are fixed attributes. You will find three different options: fixed, changing, and historical. So here I have selected the fixed attribute. That means the source should not be changed for these columns. If there is already an ID, that means blindly you can take, man, there will not be any change, you just continue. That's what the hint we are giving to the server is: any of these columns, all these columns will not be changed in the source. It is not allowed to change. Okay. Click on next. Fail the transformation if changes are detected in the fixed attribute. Now I'm telling the server that these three will not be changed. Okay. If it is changed, let's say this is changed here, right? ML, it has become ML. But as per the configurations I have set, like fixed attribute, that means I'm telling the server this will not be changed here. I'm guaranteeing that. So if it is changed, what you want me to do? You want me to fail the component, or how you want to? You want me not to fail the component. So if you want to fail the component, you can check that. If you uncheck that, it will ignore and continue. Even though the changes are there, it will ignore. It won't try. If you want to track if there is any changes happen to the fixed attribute, let's say this attribute, if you want, as per the requirement, the value should not be changed, that is fixed. Then in that case, you can fail the transformation. If you don't want to fail, you can uncheck it. Let me uncheck it now. I don't want to fail. I want to continue, but without updating or doing anything to the destination. Click on next. And inferred dimension members, leave it as is. I'll explain you. This is a different concept. In this session only, I will explain you about this. So click on next and click on finish. So it will create the package. It will create the data flow here, what needs to be done and all. This is pretty simple. Type 0. So it will check the condition whether the record is there or not. If there is any inferred members, it will insert to this, and if there is new record, it will insert to this. Nothing else. It will come and check for every record. I have given two sources, right? Two data sets. One is coming from OLEDB, and another one I have selected when I log in into this. Here I have selected SCD 0. It will compare this record with this one, whether it is available or not. If it is available, it will continue. Sorry, if it is available, it won't make any changes to that. It will continue with the next record. So why? Because I have selected it as fixed attribute. Now, if I execute this package, if I execute this task, this is the first time. The source table is having 10 records, but the destination table is empty, right? Let's see what will happen. So now it is pulling all the 10 records and inserting to the destination table. Why? Because no record is available in the destination. Shift home and you can see all the records are inserted into the destination table. Now, if I execute this again, if I stop this and execute this again, what will happen? How many rows will be inserted? 0 rows. Why? Because it's already available. So SCD type 0, what it will do is it will check whether there is any newly newly inserted records in the source. If it is available, and then it will insert into the destination. It will compare with the destination table whether there is any new record inserted or not. Now, let me do one thing. I will try to update this data, the source data, source information. Update sales underscore person set. I'm changing the name of the source table. Remember, this is sales underscore person is source table in my case. This is my destination table. Okay. I'm changing the name to Rupesh Babu when name is equal to Rupesh. So when it is Rupesh, I'm changing the source to Rupesh Babu. So one record modified, right? Now these two are not in sync. The salesperson table, my name is Rupesh Babu, but in salesperson underscore SCD 0, it is different. Now if I execute this, what will happen? I want you guys to guess this. I'm executing the task. What will happen? No updation. Why? Because I told the server these are fixed attributes. There will not be any changes. Only new records will be considered. Okay. If there is any new record, then that's it. It will be N. Now, let me go into the SCD and we have set some property, right? This is the property where we said this is fixed attributes. All these columns, you don't care. You don't need to care about this. All these are fixed attributes. I'm checking this. Fail the transformation if you detect any changes. Now tell me whether there is any changes to the compared to the source and destination. Are there any changes? So we have one change and let's see what will happen now. So it failed the component saying that you mentioned that it has fixed attribute, but it is changed in the source. The value that is coming from the source is different from the destination one. So that is why it fails. So in short, I'll do like this. Let's say this is your source and this is your destination. Let me take pen here. This type 0 for all the columns, if you set it as fixed attribute, then it will take this column, whatever the column you have given as business key. This is the column you have given. It will come and check in the destination. It is available or not. It is available. So it will go to the next one. It won't care about the remaining columns which you have set as fixed attribute. It will go to the next one. 2, available or not. It is not available. So it will copy this row and paste it here. Okay. So this is about, this is how the type 0 SCD works. And there is an option, right? If you want to fail the component, if you detect any changes, this is a change. ML has, SSE has become ML. So this is a change. If you want to fail the component, if any, so this fail component, whatever the property I have set at the end, is very useful when you want to capture whether there is any changes coming or not. If there is some data like the changes should not come. Let's say Tirupati, my hometown, the pin code is constant. So I've entered the correct pin code and it is entered properly. If tomorrow the pin code is changed and some US pin code is entered there, that if I give like, okay, this should not be changed. And if it is changed, then that's an issue. So if you feel like, okay, this is a fixed attribute and this should not be changed. Let's say account number, that should not be changed. Okay, account holder name. It's based on, let's say passport. In passport holder name, it will not be changed so frequent. No, it will not be changed here. Whatever it is set, that will be the final, right? So if you don't want to change any particular column or all the columns, then it will become type 0. Okay. Now let's see SCD type 1. We have seen SCD type 0 now, right? So SCD type 1, how this guy behaves. So if you set it as a SCD type 1, if you define a table as SCD type 1, then it will take this. It will check whether it is available here or not. If it is available, then it will check for the columns, whether the values is changed or not. If the value is changed, it will come and update it. This become ML. And it will come to the next record after that. So second record, 2, name is Lokesh, and this is new record. So it inserts. That's it. So it updates the record. Instead of ignoring it, it updates. Okay. Let's say after a few days, one more record inserted. PM, IT, let's say 2 more records. Venki, DL, DM, delivery manager, and IT. So now Rupesh has become project lead. So what will happen is, it will come first record 1 is available here. So it will come and check all the columns. So it will go for the column designation. Module lead has become project lead. So it will change it. And it will go for 2. It is already available and no changes. So it will go to the next one, third record. So it will go to 3rd and 4th. These 2 are new records. So it will copy to the destination. So this is how type SCD works. Now let's see how to configure the same. So to configure the same, first let me change this guy. I'll change the property to not to fail. Why? Because every time it will be failing then. Okay. Finish. And I'm going to disable it. And I'm going to take a new one for SCD type 2. So I'm going to take a data flow. And let me connect it. I'm telling you again that connection is not mandatory. I'm giving it just it looks good. That's why. And I'm taking OLEDB source and I'm connecting to the same database, same table like sales underscore person. So in sample database, this is fine. Let me select sales underscore person. Okay, fine. Now I created one more table, SCD type 1. Just to demonstrate this. Okay. And if you see, there is no data in this. Select star from SCD type 1. Here also the number of columns will remain the same. It won't be changed. Okay. So let me drag and drop SCD. And let me set the configurations now. So first thing what I have to set, I have to set the lookup table or reference table where I'm gonna load the data after comparing the data. So it is sales person SCD type 1. And what is the business key? The business key is ID again. So click on next. Here for the attributes, I can set 1 or I can set all. It depends on my requirement. Let's say I want to capture only country if the country is changed or if the name is changed. If I want to capture only name is changed, I can set the remaining as fixed attributes and I can set only name as changing attribute. So the changing attribute means select this type when changes value should overwrite existing values. This is a type 1 change. Okay, that means if there is any change in the column value that you are setting as changing attribute, that will be changed, that will be overwritten. That means that will be updated. Okay, click on next and fail the transformation if changes are detected in the fixed attribute. I don't want to fail. Why? Because I want to demonstrate you here. And changing attribute, change all the matching records including outdated records when changes are detected in the changing attribute. So all the old records and everything, wherever the changes are detected, if you want to overwrite it, you can go for it. Click on next and let's leave this inferred dimension members. We will discuss after completing the type 2 also. Click on next and click on finish. It will create it now. It will create the data flow for this one. If you see, this is an insert statement. If any new record comes in, as I told you here in Excel, the 3 and 4 is a new record. So all the new records will be, it's a condition check kind of, all the new records will be sent to this pipeline. And this is for inferred members, leave it. And this is for changing attribute. If there is any changing attribute, so that attribute needs to be updated. So what column I have set as changing attribute? I have set only name as changing attribute. And if you see, this is nothing but a OLEDB command here. In OLEDB command, if you see update salesperson underscore SCD1 set name is equal to question mark where ID is equal to question mark. That means name may be changed. Whenever the name is changed, that records will be sent to this pipeline. When new record comes in, that will be sent to this insert time destination, this pipeline, and inferred members will be sent to this one. Now, if I execute it, first time there is no record, no data in the destination, so all the 10 will go to the new output, right? So you can see all the 10 has gone to new output. Now, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to change the name again. So I'm going to change from Rupesh Babu. Now it's Rupesh Babu in the destination. If you have any queries, you can check. If you have any doubts, you can check this. My name is Rupesh Babu here, and I'm changing back to Rupesh in the source. This is my source. In source, the Rupesh Babu has become Rupesh. Now let me execute it again and see how many records will be passed through each pipeline. So as there is only one change, one name change, only one record should come through the OLEDB command, this pipeline, and you can see one record has been sent, and that is the changing attribute. If there is any value change to the changing attribute column, whatever we specified under changing attribute column, then it will be sent to the OLEDB. And no new outputs here. It's the same old output. And inferred members, leave it now. So if I go and check the table here, you can see the Rupesh Babu has become Rupesh. Now let me show you one thing. I will change the city. I'm changing city from Jersey to Jersey City, right? There is one record where the city name is Jersey, that is with my name. So sorry, something is wrong. It's not name, it's a city. One record should affect. So one record change now, and this city column, I have set it as fixed attribute. If you observe here, I have set this city as fixed attribute. That means I'm not expecting any changes, or no changes should come for this particular column. And I've unchecked this. Don't fail the component if any changes predict. If you found any changes. Now what will happen if I execute this? Any guess? Before it executes, go for a guess. So as I said, city is not a changing attribute. Nothing will happen. No rows will be affected. So only changing attributes will be taken care and it will be updated, as you have seen here. And if you go and execute the sales person SCD1, you can see the Jersey will remain the same. It has not become Jersey City. So if you want to track the changes, or if you want to update the changes happening to the Jersey city column also, then what you have to do, you have to make that one as changing attribute. The city also has changing attribute. If you feel that, okay, I can expect changes to the column city, then make that one as changing attribute. And if you execute this, then it will check whether there is any changes for the city column. And if any changes found, then it will be sent to the third pipeline where it will update the city. And now let's see. Here you can see one record affected. And here if I execute it, you can see the Jersey has become New Jersey. It's simple. I mean, whatever the changing attributes, it will send for update. You can see this pipeline is only for update. It was only name earlier. Now it has become city and name. If any changes in city and name, it will send here city or name or unnamed. Okay. It will send to this record, to this pipeline, and it will update. So this is how the SCD type 1 works, how to configure. Can you see any problem here in type 1? The major problem is, if anyone asks me what is my city, let's say the Jersey city, now I'm changing it to USA. Can you tell me any other city here? Let's say XYZ, or I'll say Bangalore. Bangalore is not in US, but please bear with me. So I change it to Bangalore. And if I execute it, the destination will become Bangalore now, Bangalore city. Okay, let's assume Bangalore is a new city in New Jersey state. Now, the problem is you can't track it. If you ask me, Rupesh is from which city, you can say only Bangalore. You will not have the history from where he moved, where he was working earlier. So the only record you can get is Bangalore, right? You are overwriting the destination. You are not creating a new record, or you are not trying to maintain the history of the particular person or particular product. So this is the problem with the type 1 SCD. Now let's jump into the type 2 SCD. So again, I'm deleting these two records. Let's go back to the same original state, SCD type 2, and this is the initial status. So what this SCD type 2 will do is it will do in two ways. Either maintaining a key column saying that whether it's a current record or history record, or it will maintain start date and end date in our SCD transformation. So let's say Rupesh, he is SSC, right? And he has become module lead. Okay. Now what this type 2 will do is some key column. It will come here. Z1. Okay. 1 is available, but there is a change. So it will make it as 0. That means it's old record. And it will copy the fresh record here. Rupesh, module lead, IT, and it will make it as 1. 1 means current record, current active record. And it will go to the next record, 2. It is not available in the destination. So 2, Lokesh, let's say project lead, IT, and this is newly inserting. So it will become 1. Let's say 3 and 4 records, when I, PM, IT, 4, Venki, DM, IT. And Rupesh has become, let's say this time delivery lead, top position. So now what will happen if I execute it? So here it will come, it will check 1 is available, but this data is changed. It is not available anywhere here. So it will make it, that one 0 and this one 0, and it will make a 1 record, 1 Rupesh, delivery lead, and IT. Okay, it will check the active record, and if it will check whether there is any change or not. Okay, now 2 record, it remains the same, so it won't make any changes. 3rd record, when I, PM, IT, and this is newly inserting 1, so it will become 1. So 4th record, Venki, DM, IT, and 1. While querying the data in your queue, what you will do is you will check only this. So how many records you are having here? 4 records. The same records will be here. So always active records will be maintained, will be differentiated with the column, separate column. This is type 2 SCD, one of the types in type 2 SCD. Okay, let's see how to configure this. So for demonstrating the same, I created one table, and as I told you, you can see current record. I added this extra column current record, okay, to say whether it's a current record or not. And these 2 extra columns to demonstrate the next SCD. So forget about that. Don't worry about that one now. So I'm going to make use of the current record in current record column in salesperson SCD type 2. Select star from SCD type 2, and you can see there is no records available. Now let me disable it and take a new guy. Let me connect it and let me go here. Let me set the source. I can copy and paste the source, but it's easy, right? So I'm creating again. So the source is salesperson, and now I'm taking slowly changing dimension. Here I'm selecting next, and the database is sample, and the table name is SCD Type 2, and the key column is, see, these are the date columns that are not available in the source. You can see the current record, the end date, and start date. So it is coming as blank. Now the key column is ID, the business key. Click on next. Here you have to specify the historical attribute. That means if you found any change, let's say I'll set everything as fixed. Okay, and I'll set the name as changing attribute. That means whenever it is changed, just update it, and I'll make city as historical attribute. So whenever there is a change in the city, then only a new record will be inserted. Whenever there is a change in country, PIN and state, nothing will happen. Whenever there is change in name, it will override. Now we are gonna see the same. You understood, right? What the configurations, the change type I have set here. So click on next and fail the transformation. I don't want to fail if there is any change in the fixed attributes. Okay, let me check once whatever I've said. So city is historical attribute. That means whenever there is change in the city value, then it should be creating a new record, and name is changing attribute. Name changes, it will update, and all the remaining, nothing should happen. Okay, fine. So I don't want to fail it. I want to update any historical data. Fine. Now here, this is the historical attribute options. So what is the column you are going to use to specify whether it is a current record or previous record? So this is the column I'm going to specify. I'm going to use current record column. So value when it is current, I'll set it as 1. So if it is a current record, display 1. If it is old record, expired record, set it as 0. Only for historical attribute options, this one you can see. Okay, click on next, and click on finish. Now it will create the remaining stuff. All the combinations, whatever we have set, for all those combinations, it will create it. Now first, if you see here, changing attributes update output. So we have set changing attribute, right? What is that column? We have set it as changing attribute name. Whenever the name change, it has to update. This is 1. And derived column, it has to derive whether it's a new value or not. 0. Okay. That means if there is any record which is already available, okay, that should be what is that? And the column value is set as historical attribute. If the value is changed, then it has to derive a column with the value 0. You have to set 0, right, to the current one. Okay, and here let's see what's happening. Current record, it is updating where ID is equal to so and so, and current record is equal to 1. So the current record will become historical record, where current record is equal to 1 and ID is equal to, let's say, 1. It will make it as 0. Okay, this is fine. Now this is for infer members, and this is for changes. Let me drag it to the right. Here you are unioning the new output and the changed output and inserting and deriving a new column, and this column will set 1 and inserting to the destination all the records. So this is how the type 2 SCD with one key column, one current column indicator will be created. So here this is little bigger one than the earlier one. So what I will do is I'll set data viewers here so that you can understand what's happening, how the data is flowing. Okay, and here I set one data flow and data viewer, and here I'm setting one data viewer, and here I'm setting one data viewer. I'm setting, actually, to be frank, it's too many data viewers, but let's see, so that you'll get clear picture. New data viewer. Oops, I cancelled it. Okay, and let me set one more data viewer before inserting to the destination. Okay, now let me execute it. There is no data in the source, right? Sorry, no data in the destination. So everything should be flowing through the new output. Let's see where it will hit. And you can see here it is 0 records. Nothing coming. Here all the 10 records are coming, and all the 10 from source it is coming. Let me close it and it will go to the next viewer. Okay. Now this is the data viewer at this level. So this level, what it's happening? It's unioning, it's same, it is fine. Now if I close it, you can see it will add one more column called current column. Can you see? Everything is current column now. This is the first time insert. So everything is current. Okay. Click on OK. Done. Now let me go and change something. I'm gonna update. What is the name? I've changed that as historical attribute. Is it city or name? I think it's city. Let me change the city back from Bangalore to Jersey City. Okay. I don't know how many records. Bangalore, there are 2 records, and these 2 records is changed to Jersey now. If I execute it now, how many records will flow from this path? Historical attribute change insert path. And how many from new? Let's see that. So if you see here, there is no new records. That is why nothing is flowing here. Okay. And historical changes has been happened to these 2 records. One is ID 1 with the name Rupesh and ID 5 with the name Prasad. Now the city is changed to Jersey. Right. If I close this, here if you see, it is setting the current record as 0. Okay. And no records is flowing through this because there is no new records. There is no new data inserted into the source. Now we are at union all. It will be the same. Okay. And here Rupesh, Jersey, New Jersey, and this guy will become 1. This is the one what is gonna map. Here it is just an update statement. It is updating it and then getting the data. And here it is setting it as 1 and done. Okay. I know you got confused. I'll do one thing. I'll explain in a better way with pen and markers. Okay. So here, let me take a red color so that it can be easily visible, clearly seen. First, it will check the condition, whether there is any changed attributes or not, changing attributes. Let's say, what is that? Name is changed from Rupesh to Rupesh Babu. So if there is any such records, it will send to this guy. And it will directly update it. That's it. If there is any inferred output, it will go here. These 2 are clear, right? And here, if there is any new record, it will directly send to this guy. Okay. If there is any record for which the historical attribute value, column value is changed, that will be sent here. Okay. And this guy will derive a column. You know that the value is changed now. The historical column value is changed. So those columns will be set to 0 here. The current record will be updated to 0 here in this guy. And the same records will be passed to this. To which, let's say the data, they'll update it to 0 here, and the same values like 1 Rupesh Jersey City and so on, 5 Prasad Jersey City and so on will be sent to here. This guy will be unioned with the new records if any, and this total output will be traveled through this pipeline, and while traveling it will set the value as 1. So the value of 1 will be set to the newly created records and also changed records. Understood? And overall the total records will be inserted into the destination table. So this is how it will take care of the SCD type 2. In short, it will take the where changed ones, it will take the new ones. Okay, the changed ones will be set to 0 and the same values will be passed here, and here new ones both merges together and all the values will be set as 1. The values here, it will be, if you see the query, the OLEDB command, it will take only the changing attribute, the historical attribute, let's say city in our case, update so and so table, destination table where city is equal to so and so coming from so and so or something like that. Sorry, it won't set anything. It will set only the current key column, right? So it will change it and the values will be sent here and it will be updated. So this is how it will handle SCD type 2 using one key column. Now let's see how it will maintain the another way of maintaining the history. Let's say the type 2 with start date and end date. So the problem with this one is it will say, okay, Rupesh is a senior software engineer and he worked as module lead, he worked as project manager and so on. But from when to when? Who knows that? No one can give that information here. So what people will do is, in few cases, if they want to track it from when to when Rupesh was so and so with so and so designation, then they will maintain start date and end date. So initially it will be like this, right? And he was SSC, and IT, the start date is, let's say, 6th December 2010, and end date is whenever he has become module lead or whatever. Okay. Now, whenever you try to load this information, this record already available here. So what it will do is it will put an end date. Initially it will be null. Okay. It will put an end date. Like let's say it changed in 6th May 2012. The end date is so and so, and the new record will be inserted. 1 Rupesh, module lead, IT, and the start date is this guy's end date, and the end date will become null. So for all those records where end date is null are active and current records. So that is how we will find out whether he is an active record or the current one or not. And the record ID 2, it's a new one, so it will just directly insert like this: project lead, IT, and start date is this, and end date is null. So the difference between the earlier method and this method is there it will tell whether it's his current record or not. That's it. But here it will tell you from when to when he is in the current, in a particular position. Okay. Now to do the same, you don't need to change a lot. You need to change only one property. Everything will remain the same here. This is also fine. And instead of this, use a single column, use start date and end date keys. Here, what is the start date column? Start date column is start date. End date column is end date. And variable to set the date values. If you have to set the date, right, from where you want to get the date. I want to use the start time, system start time, or I can use container start time, when this container starts. So I can use this kind of dates, any one date to insert the value. So what you are going to use is, here if you take the Excel, you are going to use this value, right? This will be changing every time. The end date will be set with the current execution time, and start date of the new record will be the same. And if it is new record, it will be the same execution time. So You need to set from where you have to get the start date or end date. Sorry, end date and start date. So I'm giving, okay, in this variable, whatever the value is coming, use that value. If you have a variable which is saying some value, that you can use that one also. And click on next and click on finish. Now it will be changed accordingly. Whatever the type 2 SCD with start date and end date columns, the same way it will create the data flow. So this is for derived column, historical attributes insert, and OLEDB command. Now if you see here, this guy earlier it was updating to 0. Now if you see, the end date will be updating here. End date is so and so, where end date is null. End date will become some value now. It will not become null. Why? Because it has been changed. And union all, and here it is for new records, and again derived column to set the start date here, and everything remains the same, if you see, right? And this is for changing attributes. The same way, but instead of one column update, like only in business key or key, so not business key, sorry, the current key column. Instead of that, now we are updating end date and setting start date. So if I execute it now, I don't know whether, yeah, I'm using the same table, right? Fine. So if I execute it now, it will go on check whether there is any data or not. And if there is no data, then it will insert. And if it is data, then it won't do anything. Let's see what the output we have now. So SCD type 2, you can see this is new records here. It's completely changed. It checks for start date and end date. There is no start date and end date for earlier data, right? So it is taken new set of records, and this is the data. Okay. Now, if I make any change to the source, I'll change back that city from Jersey to Bangalore. You can see how it will work now. If I execute the package, how the values will be changed in the destination table, the start date and end date stuff. So let it execute, and I'll go and execute the query here meanwhile. By the time it will be completed, Shift 10. I want to see only new records where start date is not null. Okay. If I execute it now, you can see this guy's city is changed from Bangalore to Jersey. So this is ended here. Okay. And a new record you can find here. Rupesh, the city has become Bangalore from this date, this time. It has ended this date, this time, and it has become this date, this time. So this is how it will be. And in the same way, this is ended. Can you see? So this is how you can maintain start date and end date. The problem with this one is, there is a problem here. So I told you this is a master table, right? So if this is a master table, if one employee ID 1 is repeating twice, what will happen? There is no primary key column there. This is wrong, right? So to avoid these kind of issues, if I give this master table and if I use it in SSAS, it will fail. It won't work out. So what people will do is they will create a surrogate key. Surrogate key is nothing but people call it as dummy key, waste key, useless key, and so on. So it's just like an integer, or what we call it as, it's like auto increment value. So now this guy become 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. This guy become 11. This guy become 12. And people use the surrogate key as primary key column to provide uniqueness, to bring uniqueness to each and every row in the master table. Now for demonstrating the same, I've created a table, sales underscore person underscore SCD2 underscore key. Here you can see surrogate key, a column with identity. So you will be dealing with only this data. You don't need current record also in this particular one. You will be dealing with only this information, and SK will be automatically incrementing. So that means always the master table record, the primary key column will be SK and it will be unique. So let me show you that by changing the destination from SCD2 to SCD2 key. Let me change it here, key, and the business key is ID. Click on next. Changing attributes, fixed, let it be like this. Click on next, click on next, and click on next, and remaining things let me set it as is. Okay. Now if I execute this, first it will insert the data, and I'll try to change the city, and then I'll show you what will happen. So let me execute it. Meanwhile, let me execute the query here. There is no data, and select star from so and so. You can see now 10 records inserted. We are not making use of this record, forgot this column, forgot about it. All the records end date is null. And if you see, surrogate key is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now I'm updating this one. Again back to Jersey. From the city, Bangalore. If I re-execute it, now what will happen? It will go change those records, and it will set the end date as we discussed, right, in the last session, last case. So let me execute it, and you can see the end date is set and a new record is created, but still the surrogate key continues. So this surrogate key will be used as reference key in your transaction tables. That is why people insert master records first and then transaction records. Okay. So first master data they insert, and then they insert the transaction, and they will check, okay, ID is equal to 1. Let's say Rupesh record. Rupesh has some mails, Rupesh took some leaves and he has to update the ID now. So he will check Rupesh, his ID is 1, and he'll go for an active ID. So what is the active ID of Rupesh? This is the active record of Rupesh. What is the surrogate key? 11. So 11 will be taken into the fact table. Next year if he comes and there is one more record for Rupesh, this is ended and new record has come, and that surrogate key is 55. So 55 will be taken. One Rupesh will have 3 different IDs, and 3 different IDs will be used in the transactions, depends on the time when they have taken it. So this is how you can create SCDs. Now to make that, while moving the transaction tables, you know, right, the foreign key relationship fails if there is no master record. Let's say if there is a particular master record which is used in the transaction but not available in the master. So what will happen? The foreign key fails. So in that case, what people will do is they will insert some dummy record. Let's say the ID is 11 or 13. So what people will do is they will insert only ID and set all the remaining as blank, just to make the transaction load successful. You understood what I'm saying? Few cases while loading the transactions, if there is no master data, what they will do is they will insert some dummy record, like only ID will be inserted and remaining will be null, 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 null. So why? Because the foreign key will be referred only using ID column. If that is available, then for the transactions will be inserted. So in that case, if when you get the data, when everything is null, if you want to, we call it as inferred records. So you want to insert any such kind of records where even though you set it as fixed attribute, that means no changes will be expected. And if you get any inferred records where these columns are null, all the columns are null, you want to insert that information. All that information will come into this inferred pipeline. So that is called inferred members. So this is rarest scenario. So that is why I have not given much importance to this. Okay, this is about SCDs and we are good, and if you just try it, and I love these SCDs, and if you have any queries you can ping me anytime. So let me disable this and let's jump into the next concept here. I mean, we have to close this today. Data flow task. What is the next transformation that is available? So one of the transformations which we are not going to discuss is data mining query. I told you, right, data mining we are not going to cover as part of this MSBI training sessions. So I'm not going to explain anything about data mining queries here. So if you see, the fuzzy grouping is the next one. For this one also, I think I created a table. Let's see. Yes. This is for lookup. I created one. And fuzzy grouping term lookup I created, but not for fuzzy grouping. Okay, fine. Okay, actually I have not created any table for fuzzy grouping. Why? Because I can use the existing table, that is salesperson table. Okay, first let me show you, let me set the source and explain what is this. Fuzzy grouping means it will go and it will group all the items which are of a similar, what is that? Similar name or similar type. I'll show you an example first. Okay, so let me select the table. I'll take sales person. Well, I think better take the sales team. Let me check which table is the best one. Okay, sales team is the best one. Okay, I've taken sales term. Click on OK and let me set the fuzzy grouping here. So if I drag and drop this fuzzy grouping, destination output of that one to this fuzzy grouping, here you have to specify a connection manager to use for storing the temporary tables. Okay, somewhere it has to do a lot of fuzzy grouping here. It will do a lot of grouping part and all combinations, like combinations. Okay, so what we need to do is we have to set a connection manager to which we have access, the package, the execution of the person with which ID we are executing the package should have access to the database, and you have to set that just for storing and playing with the temporary tables. Now in the columns, if you see, if I select ID and if I go to the advanced one, let me select name. Okay, I'm selecting name here. And if you go to the advanced one, here I have to set what level of similarity you are looking for. It will check for similar values. I'm giving 0.880. That means 80% similar. If the word is 80% similar, then you can treat that one as similar word. Group that one into one bucket. Okay. Let me cancel this and let me take the other one here. This table has only 3 records. You don't understand. This has more. I'm selecting name, city, state, and okay, I'll select the city for now. Okay, I've selected city column. I want to create a fuzzy grouping here. Key in, key out, and what is the score? This is the column names, and if you want to change it to some other name, you can change it. Like I want to get the output as input column and output column and score. And percentage of similarity, you can set like 80%, 60%. If the word is 60% similar, then get it. And if you want to remove any delimiters, or if there is any delimiters, then you can set it. Like if you want to, if you don't want to consider this stuff, okay, you can take this one out. Now I've set the basic requirement, basic properties that are required for this, and I'm taking an audit transformation. And I'm giving the output of fuzzy grouping here to the audit transformation just to see how the data is grouping in the fuzzy group transformation. So let me click on, let me set a data viewer and let me execute it. And it will show you what data is flowing in, what it is flowing out, and what is the similar value, whether it is already available a similar value or not. Here you can see. I'll explain you how you have to read this. Okay. Input is 1, input ID, output ID is 1, the score is 100% matching, and ID is 1, name is Rupesh, city, and all the remaining columns. So for what column we have set the grouping, the fuzzy lookup? We have set it for city. Sorry, fuzzy grouping. We have set it for city. So first record, the city is Jersey. And for the second record, ID is input ID is 5 and the name is Prasad, but output is 1. So this is this 5, this city is equal to the city that is present in the ID 5. Sorry, ID 1. So it will check what is the similarities. If you see, this is 6. Okay. The city is Tirupati. And this is 2 having the same. 3 having the same. 7 having the same. 8 having the same. 9 having the same. All the remaining records are having the city as Tirupati. That is why it is giving the output as this one. So here if you observe, that's, sorry guys, I'll explain in a better way. I think I'm confusing you. The input is nothing but what is the row ID that is flowing in. Okay. And score is how much matching. What is the percentage of matching? Okay. And output is there any matching record already passed through? Understood? Here if you see 1, the city is Jersey. And 2, city is Tirupati. And so output is 1 and 2. Output column. 3, this guy's city is Tirupati and it is already available in the ID 2. I already came across in the ID 2. 4, it is Connecticut or something. It is first time. It is not available earlier. So this is 4. 5, this is Jersey. Already it is available here. Okay. And 6, it is Tirupati. So it is already available. I got it here. And 7, it is 2, that is Tirupati, that is already available. So this is how it calculates. And this percentage is like how much percentage the value is matching. It's 100% matching. Here it is Tirupati, here also it is Tirupati. So it is exactly matching. So this is how it groups. But to go for a more realistic example, now I'll change the names of the Tirupati to Tirupati, or I'll change the name. I'll make it, just observe this one, the changes I'm gonna do. So where is the update query? So I'm changing the city to Tirupat, okay, from Tirupati, and ID not equal to 2. So except for the ID 2, I'm changing it for all the guys to Tirupat. Okay. Now let me re-execute it. So all the second guy is having the city as Tirupati, and all the remaining guys who are having as Tirupati, I changed it to Tirupat. Now if you see, it is saying this is 0.87% similar to the value that is present for the remaining, like Tirupat. All the records are having Tirupat, which is 100% similar here, but this is 0.87499979. So it gives a hint like, okay, is it a spelling mistake or something like that? If you want to capture that kind of information, or it is a duplicate record. Generally what people will do is they'll go for all the records. Here in the fuzzy lookup, they'll go for all the columns. That will say if the record is 80% or above similar, that means this might be a duplicate record. Let's say they have added all this stuff, and now they'll calculate the percentage, how much score it is going to get, how much similarity this particular, the complete row is. Okay. Based on that, they will take a call. They will add a conditional split, and based on the percentage, they will split the records into 2 outputs, 1 similar records and 1 original records. So it is 100% and all are unique records. Now I'm checking all the records, right? So it is become unique. So if you feel that city, state and country, these 3 are coming very close, and you can calculate the percentage, how much similar to the previous record. You understood? And it really helps whenever you want to capture, like whether there is any close to do any spell mistakes, like let's say Sachin Tendulkar, Sachin R Tendulkar, SR Tendulkar. So if you want to find out all these kind of guys, all the records with the same similar name, and if you want to group it, then you can go for it, right? So that is the one of the advantage. Or if you want to group all the items, of same or very similar spelling, you can use this fuzzy grouping. And based on the score, they will divide the records, and if there is any similar records, they will move it to Excel and they will send it to the customer saying that is it correct data or not, just to re-verify. If they verify it as correct data and you just insert it, we will insert it, or else they'll correct it and they'll send it back. Like if it is Sachin Tendulkar, SACHIN Tendulkar in all the records, but only in one record SACHI no N and Tendulkar TENDULKA. So that means it's a spelling mistake. I mean, it's a similar record, right? So all those kind of data you can separate it based on score. Here, instead of audit transformation, if you use conditional split, what will happen? It will give you some score, right? So based on the score, you can separate it. With all the with the records with the score 100 will be sent directly to insert, and the remaining things you can separate it and you can send it to an Excel, and the Excel can be shared with the business so that they will verify it and they will change all the corrections. If there is any corrections, spelling mistakes, they will change it, right? So that is how this will be used, this particular transformation. So now we are going to discuss about fuzzy lookup, the next one. You know very well about the lookup. We have discussed a lot, right, about lookup transformation. Now I created one table and I inserted records, and if you see, all the names are not proper. It's not it's half names, like last character is removed or something is wrong, right? Rupesh, H is missing. Lokesh, SH is missing, something like that. So this is the lookup table I'm gonna use, and I'm gonna compare the data that is coming from. So lookup, what it will do is it will check for the exact value. But this fuzzy lookup, what it will do is it will check for very similar value. If it is very similar based on the percentage, then it will match the record and it will return into the result set. Let me remove this guy for now, and let me give this output to the fuzzy lookup as input. And here, as you all know, I have to create a reference table, right? So, I mean, the comparison, lookup needs a reference table from where it is going to look up. So the table I have created already one for this. So let me reference it. Sales term underscore lookup. No, not sales term. Salesperson underscore lookup. And if you want to create new indexes and store, or if you have existing indexes for this, you can use this. But if you do it now, it will take performance hit and all. No, if you want to create new indexes, you just click on this. And if you want to maintain store indexes, you can check this one. Here, use existing index. If already an existing index, first time when you run, and if the existing indexes are available, then you have to check this guy. So now, let me go to the columns. There should be a lookup. In lookup, right, there should be a common column, which will be compared. What is the common column which we are going to use here as lookup? The name. Okay. The name will be looked up, and in advanced settings, you will be checking like the percentage and all. Let me similarity threshold set it to 0. Maximum number of matches to output per one. It's 0. It's 1. Let's leave it as is. And two objects with the duplicate name. Oops. There is an extra columns coming from here. Let me remove a couple of columns here. I don't need this guy. Why? Because same kind of columns will be repeated by fuzzy lookup also, like similarity, input key, and so on. So that is why it's creating some problem. So I've deleted that one. Let me remove that guy. Okay. Now let me set the properties. I have to delete all the references missed one. Now let me set the properties. This is fine. This is, let's see. Okay, fine. And advanced and everything is fine. Now If I execute this, what it will do is I have a reference table here, and I have the source table, the data that is coming from. If there is very similar values, it will pick it. Generally, it won't happen, right? When it is having similar values, it won't happen. The lookup, what it will do, it will check for exact value. But here, in this fuzzy lookup, the only difference is it will have a kind of like probability, a percentage similarity. If it is that much similar, then it will pull the record. Let's see how many records will be pulled if I have data like this. You know, the source table is different from destination table here, right? And let's see. So if you see, even though the records are not matching exactly by name, it is pulling most of the records, right? So here the name one and similarity percentage, you can see it gives you similarity percentage. The similarity percentage is 96%. Rupesh, only H is missing. This is 80%. SH is missing. This is one character or three characters missing, and so on. It gives you percentage, how much similarity is. And confidence level, what is the confidence level? And similarity, city, and for all the columns here. Similarity state, the state is similar. The city is this much similar for all the records. And it gives percentage. And the country, it is similar compared to source and destination. And this is pin code, it is not changed. So it will give the similarity for each and every one. This is for name. Okay, the name percentage is this one. And next, for the states, cities and all, how much similar the value, the mapping required is. If it is very similar, like 80%, 90%, it is getting on, it is giving you the percentage, how much percentage similar it is. So based on this percentage, you can take a call whether it's a correct record or not. If it is only 10% similar, that means it is not the matching one. If it is 96% similar, then it's a matching one. Right? You can set some condition like if it is 75% and so on, greater than so 75%, then treat it as a similar record. Right? So if you observe the lookup, how the lookup works and how the fuzzy lookup. Fuzzy lookup, it will go with the similarity percentage. It's not the exact match. Whereas the lookup, it's completely exact match. And there is no more many properties to configure here. It's just the basic one where what is the common column that you are gonna use as lookup one. The column that you are gonna use, the column that you are using as lookup one, and what is the output you want to see, what is the percentage threshold and so on, like similarity percentage threshold and so on. Now, actually the time is up, but I'll do one thing. I'll quickly cover the remaining two transformations, which is pending, so that we can close this. So the sales term, I created a table called sales term. In that one ID, integer, name, something, and details. If you see, it is in text data type. It should be in text data type. Okay. Then only you can use it in term extraction transformation. So what is term extraction transformation? It will extract how many nouns are there, how many noun phrases are there, and so on. So this is the term extraction. Okay, and let me drag it here into this, and let me set the source properly. I created one table for this. Why? Because it accepts only the column with n text type. So I created a column called sales term with such a column with the data type. So I've given it as input, and here you have to select what is the column which is for which you want to check the terms. It is details column. If I give name column, it will say the input column can only have DT WSTR and DT in text. Okay. And let me select details, and it is only one column per transformation. You can't give multiple columns. Even though it looks like checkboxes, you can't select multiple columns. So what you want to give the output column names as, this is the term, or you can use as keyword or word, whatever name you want, the name of the column, and scores, whatever. And exclusion, if you want to exclude any words from that, like let's say this particular transformation, what it will do is it will check for each and every term, how many times it is repeating, blah blah blah, that kind of information. If you want to exclude few words from that, you can remove it. You can maintain it in a database table and you can use that reference here. I've not created anything. What you need to do is you have to check this. You have to set the source where the database table is, and in that table, what is the column which is having the list of terms, like which needs to be excluded. If you don't want to count that particular term, you can use this option. And what you want to check here, you want to check noun, noun phrase, or noun and noun phrase is noun is a noun, normal any noun, and noun phrase is a noun with some phrase like a little phrase and one word extra, two words extra, phrases, or both. And frequency, score type, frequency, how frequent it is. Okay, and I have no idea about this. I will give you some information in next session. So parameters, frequency threshold, minimum length of the term, what is the maximum length and minimum length of the term. Term is what is the word length, minimum length you are looking for. Let's say I'm looking for any word which is of length greater than 2. And frequency threshold, at least how many times it should be. At least it should be minimum 2 times. If you want to use case sensitive, you can check this. There should be, if you want it to have some case sensitive part, you can check that. So case sensitive means Rupesh with R caps will be treated as different one compared to Rupesh with R small letter. Now I set a data grid, data viewer, and let's see how many terms will be extracted from here, that particular column, and how many times it is repeated. Let's see that. So dancer is one keyword what we have, and it is repeated 3 times. And good trainer, this is a phrase, noun phrase, and it is repeated 3 times. And you know one thing, it takes only nouns. It won't go for verbs and all, I think. So that is why it has taken dancer and the good trainer. Good trainer is repeated thrice and dancer is repeated thrice. So this is how you can use this term extraction to extract the terms. Let's say while getting the feedback, people will be writing so much of stuff for a product. If they want to extract the term waste, if they extract the terms, they'll get waste product 1000 times. That means it's a waste, or super good, or good, or excellent. So those kind of terms, if they want to extract, they can use the same. And here I've created a lookup table. That means here if I check the dancer, this dancer, it will go and check here and it will extract that. So this term lookup is similar to fuzzy lookup. In fuzzy lookup, it will go for like word. Here very similar percentage or similarity one, but here it will check whether this word is there in this particular one or not. If it is there, then it will get it. Trainer, if it is there in any one of these, it will get the record. If you give full string also, it will compare and it will get it. So the term lookup is different from fuzzy lookup in only one thing. Here it checks based on the terms, whereas in that one it checks based on the similarity percentage, whereas in a original lookup it exactly matches the record. So now I'm removing this guy. I'm removing this term. I'm taking one new transformation, that is term lookup. Here it is, and the output of this guy I'm sending as input to this. Okay, and here I'm specifying the reference table. What is the table that is having the terms, which it is going to use as reference one, right? Like lookup one. So it is sales term lookup, and what you want to old score and so on, and you want to check. One second, guys. I missed something. I missed it. Sorry. I'm getting the source. My mouse is killing me. I'm getting the source, OLEDB source, to the term lookup, and this term lookup, we need to set where what is the table which is having all the terms, which it can go for lookup and compare whether the value is same or not, and whether the value is available or not. And sales term lookup is the table, and here it should be based on the details and the term. Okay, And what you want to get? I want to get these two. Let's see. Click on OK. And I'm giving this output to the audit transformation and going for the data viewer to check whether the data is properly fetching or not. So let me execute it. If you see, dancer is a term, it is available in the first record, and the dancer is available in the second, trainer is available in the second record, dancer is available in the first, trainer is in second, dancer is in first, trainer is in second. So on the details, the value is in long text, right? That's why it is not showing, it is showing as long text. Why? Because it is in text data type. So this is how you can use term lookup. You can go, it will go and check whether this particular term is exists in the particular string, particular text data type column or not. If it is available, it will pick it. Let's say you want to pick only excellent records where the word excellent is available in the detail section or any particular column. So where they have given the complete feedback. So you can use this term lookup. I'm looking for this term and get this data. So term lookup is the best transformation in that case. So there are three different types of lookups. Remember, the first one is basic lookup, normal lookup, which looks up for the exact match. And the second one is fuzzy lookup, which checks for the similar value. And this one, term lookup, it checks for the term based on a particular string, whether it is a particular noun or something which is available or not in that one. If it is available, then it will get the data for us. So this is about almost all the transformations available in SSIS. We have done, I think we have gone through each and every transformation and try to cover at least once, try to practice at least once, and in next session we will discuss about the destinations and many more other concepts in the SSIS. Very interesting concepts like moving, managing packages, deleting packages, importing, exporting, and so on. It will be very thrilling and interesting. Thank you guys. Have a nice day, and sorry for taking your time, extra time. I mean, have a good day to the people outside US and UK. That means in India and other Asian countries, and good night to the people in UK and US.